It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Danny.
Oh, man.
Red to fall. What's up, man?
Did you get the cool in the air today?
I said that to my wife. And before we go any further, I do want to give a shout out to my wife. Props to her. This is our 23rd anniversary today, so she puts up with what we're doing right now.
Yes, she does.
And allows me to get out in the outdoors. But, yeah, we were outside, and I looked up, and it's cool, and it's got a little mist in the air, and I told her, I said, do you feel the change? And she looked at me and says, huh? I go, I said, it's autumn. I said, it's here. You can feel it. I said, my trigger finger's starting to twitch a little bit. Oh, man, I'm ready to get ready for season. I'm fired up.
Well, next week we got Bow Fest.
Absolutely.
So we got to get our bows ready.
Yeah.
You know, and what else do we need?
I need to get my clothes ready, get them washed up, and get them things ready to go. I need to finish putting my tree stands up. I'm doing a little work with my trail cams.
I'm building the hotel blind.
You're building the UP Hilton.
Yep.
But no, I'm kind of looking at some new things out there and thinking about where do I need to invest in some things.
You know what? This is where listeners come in handy.
Absolutely.
I got to give a shout out to Charles Byram out there because he kicked us off to something.
He keyed you in on some new product.
He tipped me off. He goes, hey, you got to check out this new company, new clothing line company. And I'm like, what? So he got me the information. So you know what? Me being the self that I am, I had to call him.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Vice President of Pnuma, David Strandberg. Welcome to the show, David.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on today. This is it's a treat.
It's our pleasure to have you on. Danny talked about your product to me, and he showed me the website. And being the type of hunter that I am, after I saw what you have to offer, I got really excited. I was almost like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? The with David being online, celebrating their 3-week anniversary.
3-week
anniversary of kicking Pnuma off.
Mm-hmm.
David, you got to tell us about this company because we're really excited here at Up North Journal just to talk to you and find out more about Pnuma.
Well, thanks again, guys, for having me on. And hey, Mike, congratulations on that 23rd anniversary.
Thank you.
That's great.
You really have to give my wife the credit for putting up with me that long.
She's a candidate for sainthood.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, listen, let me take advantage of this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Pnuma. And if it's okay with you guys, I'd really like to start with the name.
Yeah,
please do, because we were going to ask about that.
Because, people hear the name, and if you don't see it in print, they think Pnuma. Okay, that's got to start with an M. And does it have 2 O's? Is there an H at the end of it?
Right.
All sorts of things. But actually, Pnuma is a Greek word. And the rough translation of Pnuma means spirit. And so we did play around a little bit with the spelling to make it easier. And just to give you kind of the inside joke over at the office, when we were looking at the real spelling of Pnuma, when you turn it from Greek into English, it was Pnuma. And we thought, okay, that's starting to look a little bit like pneumonia. So let's stay away from that, and let's find a great way to spell it. So we went with Pnuma, and I think that it's not only a tremendous name, and I think it's also reflective of the way that the brand was created, and with the spirit of everybody who has had any contribution to the development of this brand. It was done in the spirit of creating amazing quality hunting apparel designed to get hunters to their moments of truth and home again. And every feature, every technology that's incorporated into the garments, the design, the fit, the way each piece is manufactured is just created to be the best. And, as we were putting the line together and we were looking at it, we thought, okay, what's the punctuation mark? What's the exclamation point that we can put at the end of everything that we say about this brand? And we thought, okay, if we believe in this stuff as strongly as we do, let's come out with a lifetime guarantee on every product that we make.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
We put a lifetime guarantee on every product that we make.
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
On
a clothing company.
Yes.
So if I had a piece of your apparel and I snagged it on a bush, like a thorn bush, and it tore a hole in it, you're going to take care of that?
Absolutely. Because to us, that's normal wear and tear for a hunter, okay? You might nick up your pants on a sharp rock. It could be getting snagged up on a barbed wire fence. If you've got the tailgate of your truck dropped down, okay, and you're hauling a deer into that thing, and you've got a sharp corner on the corner of that truck, and your thigh brushes up against it, and it snags and tears, to us, that's normal wear and tear.
Wow.
It's not normal wear and tear to a lot of other folks in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But we just wanted to really put what we believe is the strongest promise possible to our customers and say, if we earn the right to be on your hunts for this season and for many seasons to come, we are going to take care of you for purchasing Pnuma, for being a customer.
Wow.
We're not just going to sell you something and leave you hanging, and somebody calls customer service and says, hey, I ripped my pants. And, the reaction could be, well, we can sell you a new pair.
Right.
No,
Yes.
Our response is send it back to us. We will repair it or we will replace it for free.
Now, is that a statement or what?
That's a statement that you just don't find anywhere.
You don't?
And clothing?
No.
I can't think of how many different pairs of hunting gear that I've got that's snagged on a branch or what have you.
Tearing it.
Yeah, it's our staffer Randy Duncan, with his turkey, he got spurred in the arm and tore his shirt. So maybe this would be something he would be interested in. So, all jokes aside, that's a pretty serious statement. That's incredible.
That's standing behind your product.
Absolutely, that's something that people can believe in.
It is, and the consumer reaction to that, the hunter reaction, our customer reaction, has been absolutely incredible. And, when you're running an e-commerce website, which we do for Pnuma because it is sold exclusively online, there is all sorts of data that's available to you. I mean, right this second, I could pull up a report that I could tell you exactly how many people there are on the site right now, what pages they're looking at. I could tell you everything,
mm-hmm.
right? But one of the things that we get every day is what pages are being clicked on. And the lifetime guarantee page is one of the absolute top pages on that website that people click. And I think, number one, they're interested in it to see, are these guys really doing this? And some people are clicking on it to think, okay, what's their definition of lifetime?
What's the catch?
Right.
Because the catch?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, that's what people are looking for, is what's the fine print on this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And, generally fine print is fine for the company, but it's not fine for the consumer. And you're not going to find any fine print in our lifetime guarantee.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We will flat out simply take care of you, send it back. I know I'm repeating myself on this thing, and I apologize.
No, really. I really don't.
It really is a big part of what this brand stands for. And, it isn't just the fact that we repair or we replace. it's that we believe in Pnuma Apparel and the design, the componentry, the fabrics, the membranes, the way it's manufactured, to the point that, hey, this stuff is amazing, and we have got to back it up with an equally amazing statement about the brand and the quality. And what better way to do that than lifetime guarantee?
Absolutely. Well, I've been looking through the webpage here. In this, your apparel, man, it plays right into my wheelhouse of the way I like to hunt. I mean, Danny knows that I'm a scent freak, scent control freak, and your product, the different lines that you have here is you're basing everything off scent control and scent elimination. Am I right?
What we're doing is we're giving everybody the strongest possible odor control that we can within the line, and so that is Silver Strike technology. And so what we've done is that we have added silver antimicrobial to every piece of apparel that we make, except for the deerskin gloves.
Okay.
And so the whole idea behind that is your body produces odors. If you're hoofing it up a mountainside, you're on a stalk, or you simply have a long walk into your tree stand, you are going to perspire, even if it's cold out. Next to skin, there's going to be some degree of moisture that's going to be leaving your body. And so, for example, if somebody was wearing one of our jackets, the Waypoint jacket, a Selkirk jacket, and they've got a merino base layer underneath that. Merino has outstanding wicking abilities, and it has outstanding natural odor control. And so what we did is that we even dialed up the natural odor control of merino sheep wool by adding additional Silver Strike to our merino base. So what happens is that as merino draws that moisture away from your skin and it pushes it to the outside of that garment, the Silver Strike is going to take care of the odor buildup in that base layer. But if you have a jacket on top of that base layer, there could be moisture from your body that is moved away through that merino layer and comes in contact with the jacket. So that's why we put Silver Strike antimicrobial into every piece that we have, so that if some of that sweat goes out and gets on that jacket, that odor is the antimicrobial. Silver Strike is going to prevent odor buildup, no matter what layer you're wearing.
Okay, so what gets trapped between the two, it's taking care of that from the jacket portion as well. It's not just what's against your skin. Okay.
Correct.
I understand what you're talking about.
And even our merino wool hat, for example, we've got a visor beanie. There's Silver Strike in that too, because let's face it, your forehead's going to sweat, as you're moving through it, especially if you are wearing a cap. And with that sweat coming in contact with the fabric, the Silver Strike antimicrobial is going to take care of the odor that your body is trying to produce.
Yeah, about a third of your human odor comes out of your head. I mean, I know when I go to stand, no matter what I'm wearing or how light of clothes I'm wearing, you break a sweat. Walking, hiking in, whatever you're doing, and it's pouring out your head. And I think that's probably one of the areas most people, a lot of hunters overlook is their head. And taking care of that scent control on top of their head.
Absolutely. So
that's a great point.
You know what? And something he's also said is this is only online.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm going to say that only online at PnumaOutdoors.com. Correct, David?
That's correct. Yes.
So if you want to check this out.
Please go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to let our listeners know to go check this out. We'll give out the web address, PnumaOutdoors.com, and you can check this out. And you got to check it out.
Got to look at the website. This stuff is
this is not just a one click and no. I spent some time clicking through this website. This is a very intuitive website.
Absolutely. And looking at the line, you've got the 5 different, I call them lines. You start with your base layer, and then working through. I got to assume that this is it pronounced SIVA? Is that how you pronounce the next line?
Yes.
That's your early. I'm going to assume that's your early season system.
The SIVA system is the performance-based, lightweight performance gear, and it's at this point made up of the 2 key products within SIVA, which is our Tenacity Cool Core performance shirt and the absolute toughest pair of pants anyone can ever wear, and that's called the Tenacity pant.
Okay.
And those things, when we were talking about the lifetime guarantee earlier about, getting a rip in your pants or wearing them out, what have you, I think the one pair of pants that we are not going to have to make a lot of repairs to is going to be the Tenacity pant. It's made with one of the strongest nylons on the face of the earth. It's called a Durafila N66 nylon, and it's a high tenacity nylon, and it's woven in a very, very tight weave. And so even if you're brushing up against rocks, you back yourself into some sharp bushes, or you're going to get poked with a twig, this stuff is not going to get punctured. Now, is there something out there that's going to go through this fabric? Sure. We haven't encountered it yet, but it's an amazing pair of pants. It is lightweight, and it's got pockets all over the place. They're strategically placed pockets. It also has removable preformed knee pads. So, it's really meant for the person who is going to do a lot of stalking. They might find themselves on the ground, moving through brush, moving across rock, whatever it takes to get close to that animal. But it's also great for going out to the tree stand. All you have to do is take out the removable pads, and you really have an amazing early season pair of pants that, like I said, have lots of pockets. We have wear guards on the boot cuffs and on the knees to prevent abrasion, and it's a tremendous pair of pants. So an early season recommendation that I would give to your listeners, whether they're hunting out west or they're hunting in the warm days of September, which here in Minnesota, we're either going to have 30 inches of snow on the ground by the 17th, or, we could be hunting in 85-degree weather. That really is the place, or the 2 products that I send people to most often, is that Cool Core shirt and the Tenacity pant.
Well, looking at, you're talking about the toughness of the product and the way it's made. The first question everybody's going to ask, how quiet is it when you're walking? You've got your legs rubbing together, you brush up against something.
Yep. I think, the way that I talk to consumers, and I got to tell you guys, since we opened up the pre-launch website about 3 weeks before we went live with the full e-commerce website, ever since we put up that pre-launch site, I've been getting and personally answering probably 30 to 50 emails a day from customers and potential customers who, want to know everything before we announce price, what's your pricing going to be, all the way to, hey, I'm going out to Colorado in mid-September. Can you make a gear recommendation for me? So let's get back, to the question about being quiet. Everybody who has a hand in designing Pnuma, even the guy who works in the warehouse who happens to be a perfect size large, and he's the model for the product development people when their garments come in from the manufacturers, And he's the guy that they put him on to make sure that everything is fitting right and looking right and everything's falling into the right places. Everybody is a bow hunter at our place. And so everything that we designed, we really designed with what we all wanted in terms of quiet product for bow hunting. And we also knew what our customers expected in terms of quiet. So stealth is absolutely critical, and it is built into every product that we sell. So when I say that the pants are tough, they're also very, very lightweight, and they are very, very quiet. You're not going to walk through the woods toward your tree stand like, it is, and sound like you're wearing a pair of corduroys. Making all sorts of noise.
Right.
It's, stealth is absolutely critical, and we can talk about a couple other features on some of our other products.
Absolutely.
And with respect to stealth and how we serve the customer with just incredible apparel for the bow hunter.
I tell you what, let's step outside. Let's take a break real quick. When we come back, we're going to continue this whole conversation, line of thinking on what you've got into this product and what it has to offer for our hunters out there. So look, we're going to step outside, and we'll be right back after this.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet.
I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show. We're still talking Pnuma.
Yes, we are.
The Pnuma product line. We're talking new clothing. We're talking lifetime warranty. We're talking innovation. And right before we went to break, you had mentioned we talked about the quietness of the fabric and the product. But you said something, and you talked about the innovation and the little things that you put into this product that you put in for archers and bow hunters, things that they're going to really appreciate. Can you elaborate on that any?
Absolutely. And if the list starts getting long, I want you guys to cut me off, okay? But we really have thought of everything for the bow hunter. And we'll start with the athletic fit in the pre-curved arms, okay? It's one small thing with the articulated arms, the articulated knees, that's just something to help with freedom of movement, okay? It's something that most people don't even think about. But when you slip any one of our garments on, and you feel that pre-curved shape to the knee or the elbow, you realize, okay, there's something different about this thing. Mm-hmm. The cool core shirt and the tenacity pants that we talked about earlier. If you're on a stalk and you're getting beat up by the terrain, you're getting beat up by temperatures, that cool core shirt is going to wick away moisture. It's going to dry quickly. It's going to keep you warm. When it has to, it's going to keep you cool when it has to. It's extremely quiet. It's almost like you don't even have anything on at all. Is really it's so light, and it's so innovative in the fabric technology that when you go back to full draw and if you're drenched in sweat, that can impact your shot. So if you're wearing Cool Core and you've worked up a sweat and we're keeping you dry and we're keeping you comfortable, you're going to go back to full draw. It's going to be easy. You're not going to feel fabric peeling away from your skin as you make that move, which can distract you even momentarily from making a great shot. And that can make the difference of harvesting an animal or not. You know?
Absolutely.
So we've got, as I said, we've got all the right pockets in all the right places. The zippers that we have are extremely quiet. They're also waterproof, so nothing's going to come in and through the rain and seep through the zippers. All right, so we thought about that. We're using YKK zippers, which are arguably the best zippers in the world. We talked about the wear guards and how they are positioned on the shoulders, for example. A lot of bow hunters go in, whether you're going into the tree stand or if you're on a stalk, you're carrying a backpack. Even if it's a smaller day pack for somebody who might be hunting in a tree stand, you put those shoulder straps over, and a lot of times they're slipping off your shoulders. Well, the wear guards that we put on the shoulders are going to hold those back straps in place. A lot of apparel is designed to have venting on the side of the jacket. Well, when you think about it, that's kind of the same place where your back straps are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've moved those forward toward the center of your chest. It's about halfway between the center of your chest and your underarm, so that they're forward of your pack straps, and you operate them with one hand. Just zip down in either direction. You can zip it up or you can zip it down. And to get venting as soon as you need it, and you don't have to mess with your backpack to get it. Some of the other features on the garments would include, as I mentioned earlier, the rubberized snaps. For tree stand hunters, every garment that we have is also tree stand or safety harness compatible. So there's a slit in the back of everything from our insulator vest, our insulator jacket, the Selkirk jacket, the Waypoint jacket. There's a slit between your shoulder blades that allows your bungee cord to just slide right through. You can put your harness on, get dressed over it, put that bungee cord through that's attached to your harness, hook up into your stand, and you're set to go, and you're going to hunt safe. So little things like that. The using windbreak technology that's good to 50-mile-an-hour winds to make sure that you're staying comfortable. Nothing is worse when it comes to going to full draw on an animal and your body is shaking from the cold. Okay?
Adrenaline's okay.
It doesn't work. Yeah, I'd rather deal with adrenaline than the cold if there's going to be any shake, right?
Right on.
And so we are going to prevent you from being cold between our base layers, our insulators, the jackets themselves, and you add them on, you peel them off as temperatures and the season dictates. When we talk about here's a great example. When we talk about stealth, in the Selkirk jacket, which is really the top of the line jacket that we have, at the heart of that jacket and pant is a membrane made by a company out of Britain called Apparel. And what we decided to incorporate into the Selkirk is the Apparel Extreme membrane. Now, this is our all-weather jacket. So there are two things that are important in an all-weather jacket. How waterproof is it? Mm-hmm. And so the Apparel Extreme is rated at 20,000. All right, so you're going to find that that same rating among the best membrane manufacturers in the world. Okay, and some of those top-notch membranes are in brands that, many of your audience, they're probably owners of those brands.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about moving toward a tree stand, going up into a stand, or you're hoofing it up the side of a mountain, or you're going down through a valley and you're putting a stalk on, and you start to sweat underneath, what's really critical that membrane do is help with your breathability.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a very well-known brand of membranes out there that has a breathability rating of 20,000. And it's an extremely popular brand, and we have a lot of respect for them. There's another brand that specializes in lightweight mountain hunting gear, and they have a membrane manufactured by a company called Toray. And that, at least the last time I checked the website, which was just a few hours ago, was rated at 40,000 for its breathability rating. The Apparel Extreme is rated at 120,000.
Wow.
Which is, we're practically tripling the breathability of the previously leading membrane in the industry. And another great thing about the Apparel membrane is a lot of membranes tend to get noisy when things get cold.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about it at the office, that when you go to full draw and you don't have the right membrane, you can sound, at least to the animal that you're hunting, you're going to sound like you're wearing a potato chip bag.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to go to full draw, and you may not have heard the noise all that much. You may have heard something. But, to a Michigan whitetail, those ears are going to perk up and go, what is going on up in that tree?
Game over.
I think I'm going to leave. I'm going to get out of here. So when we talk about stealth and the importance of it, we even thought that through and said, okay, how can we protect people from moisture? How can we make this garment breathable? But at the moment of truth, when you go to full draw and it's rut time and things start to get colder, it's after the rut, you're into December, you go to full draw, you want that membrane to be quiet.
Yeah.
You do not want a membrane contributing to your not harvesting, whether it's a trophy, or whether it's food for you and your family.
Absolutely.
So those are some of the things that we went and decided to integrate into the Pnuma line to make sure that we were giving every hunter, particularly the bow hunter, the opportunity to set themselves up for success by wearing our gear.
Absolutely. I mean, so like you said, a potato chip bag on a cold day is not a good thought.
Well, and I've got a jacket I wear to work in the winter. The station I work for, they give us outdoor gear to wear because we do live TV outside in the middle of January in Michigan. And I understand exactly what you're talking about because that shell, even though when it's warm, it's pliable and it doesn't make very much noise. But when it gets cold, it's like it stiffens up. I understand exactly what you're talking about. And I've seen that in a lot of the outdoor sporting goods stores. You look at those types of things, and you can just tell that in cold weather it's going to stiffen up and be noisy. So
exactly, and that's just the benefits of wearing this garment. All the things that he's gone into. Mm-hmm. What I want to ask is the camo pattern that you came up, Terra. What was behind that?
About 2.5 years, 3 years worth of work.
It just wasn't an overnight thing
to get that thing right. When we set out to create the Pnuma, the Terra pattern, we knew that it would be a very difficult task, just like everything that when it came to building our apparel, we knew that it would be a challenge to achieve. And our goal was to create one camo pattern that works well in a wide variety of environments, in all seasons and at all distances. And we knew that if we're to be universally effective, we knew that it was going to have what we refer to as a chameleon factor. And so we had to think more about just than how the human eye sees something. We had to take into account the environmental surroundings, and we had to have a solid understanding of the color-specific eyesight of the wildlife that we hunt. And we knew that it would have to work hard, and we didn't have to want the hunter to have to change positions, move themselves into shade or into sunlight, or hunt only from certain trees, or go out and purchase a bunch of different camo patterns in order to make their way through the season. So one of the interesting things that we did, and one of the greatest opportunities that I had in my marketing agency background, is that I had the opportunity to shoot the photography for Pnuma last fall in Montana with a guy named Kenton Rowe. And Kenton is out of Helena, Montana, and he's a National Geographic guy. And, you know, as a group of photographers, you don't find any better in the world than those guys. And Kenton is a hunter, and he also studied wildlife biology in college, and so he had a pretty solid understanding of animal behavior and how they see. And, you know, did we go into the incredible studies, for example, that an apparel manufacturer out there who created the Optifade, which is a pretty popular pattern out there? No, we based ours on the environment, what was going to work in a wide variety of terrains, and also a ton of experience of the people who were involved with Pnuma. But what was interesting is that the camera doesn't lie. And when Kenton started to photograph the Pnuma pattern, whether it was above the tree line or we were down in a meadow, we were up in a tree stand in cottonwoods, or if we tuck somebody into grasses and evergreens. And you can see all this photography on the website. And every one of them is a great demonstration of how this pattern works across a wide variety of terrains and environments. And so we think it's an outstanding pattern. The reaction among industry professionals has been more than we could have hoped for, and customers are reacting the same way, and they are very excited to get their season started and try this stuff out. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've worn the prototype clothing. I did that last year, but what a great chance to actually be wearing the full production quality gear this year with the pattern in its final shape. And I'll tell you that one of the things that we did learn when we went to Montana is that we had to dial some of the green back out of the original pattern, because, as I said earlier, the camera does not lie. And we said, you know what? Maybe against a certain environment, we do have a little bit too much green. And so we worked with the gentleman who designed our pattern, who's here in Minneapolis. And we said, let's relook at this thing. We want to keep some green in the pattern, absolutely. But we've got to dial it back if it's going to work in a variety of situations. And you know, there's one thing about creating a camo pattern that sits on a retailer's shelf, and somebody takes that off the rack and they hold it up, and it looks pretty good from 3 feet. I don't know too many hunters that do their hunting from 3 feet.
No, not really.
You know, so what we were doing is, and we were doing it in the parking lot at the office. We would take a big print of the fabric that we would get from the manufacturer, and we would have two people holding up this big sheet. It was almost the size of a bed sheet, and we'd take a look at it from 20 yards. Then we'd back it up to 40. We'd go back to 60, 80, 100. We've got a very long parking lot, very long, narrow parking lot. And so we could do this. And it was very interesting to see how the human form would change, because the pattern changes the further you get away, and it becomes absolutely completely effective at any range, but it's constantly changing based on how far you are away from it. You know, a dark patterned trees and sticks, kind of a traditional pattern, can look really good from 20 yards, but you put that thing at 40, 60, or 80, or 100, and it looks like you're a black blob walking through the woods or across a mountainside. So that's one of the things that, you know, hunters do understand. A lot of them don't care to understand it, and that's fine. They just want to hunt with a pattern that they have confidence in and they think fits into the environment that they're hunting. And that's why there are so many choices today. Right. And choice is a good thing for the consumer. We just think that we've hit on a pattern that is going to be outstanding in practically all environments. And we're excited about Terra.
Yeah, looking at, you mentioned on the website, I'm flipping through the 3 or 4 pictures you got, and Danny even talked about this before we talked to you and showed me, and I'm like, wow, this really does blend into the background.
Just about any situation,
different situations we're looking at. It's incredible. But you know, that's the thing, is a lot of times we look at camo, it's what's appealing to us. And it's like, no, it's not what's appealing to us. It's what's appealing, not appealing, but what does the animal see? And that's kind of where my mindset goes, is how do we, you know, differentiate what we see compared to what animals see?
Absolutely.
And you brought a whole new aspect of this to me that I never thought about. Okay, 20 yards, 40 yards, 60 yards, 80 yards, you know, stepping back and, you know, how does that pattern blend in the closer or the further away you get?
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, some great points. I tell you what, we're running up on our next break here. Let's step outside. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation about the Pnuma line. We'll be right back after this.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters. And the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Hey, welcome back. Third segment of the show.
Education night.
It's been a night of schooling, definitely. You know, I thought I knew scent control. I just didn't know all of it.
Well,
this is what's cool.
Okay, so this is kind of like how we've always, if we're not learning something, we don't know everything.
Exactly.
As human beings, there's always something more to learn. And that's the whole part of this. And this is just one more piece of knowledge that we're gaining tonight.
But, you know, we've come this far so far in the show, but I've got a question. With Pnuma, what prompted you guys to come out with this? I mean, was there something that you guys wanted to accomplish? Did you think there was something lacking in the industry where you could step up and make an improvement? Why Pnuma?
We felt that there was an opportunity to come out with a line of apparel that was very highly technical, extremely high quality, and do it at a price that made sense. And that, of course, has been played out through our direct-to-consumer approach, where we don't have a retail markup on our pricing. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the interesting things that's happened in the industry, we find it interesting, we talk about it all the time, is that over the past, let's say, 5 to 7 years, there have been a couple of brands who have really helped educate the hunter about the importance of technology in their apparel and the importance of design and the importance of functionality. I was reading a study the other day that said that the one thing hunters look for most when it comes to their apparel is warmth. The second thing that they look for is durability. And the third thing that they look for is price. So we've got those boxes checked. We'll also keep you cool, when the time is right. But we do have garments that are going to keep you warm. Durability, I'm going to go back to it, guys. Lifetime guarantee. There's nothing more durable than a lifetime guarantee. It makes every product durable. And then was the price component. And when we sell direct to consumer and we have taken away the retail markup, and you guys know what a retail markup can be on a garment. That can be upwards of 100% or more.
Right on.
And so when we take that away, that gave us the opportunity to produce what we believe is the most well thought out, most well designed, the highest functioning and the highest performance apparel in the marketplace. And we've done it at a price that makes sense to the consumer and it makes sense to us as a business. And so we really saw an opportunity to capitalize on that growing trend toward an understanding of technology and the importance that it plays in the hunt, no matter what hunting style that you adopt. And maybe you have more than one during a season. Maybe you're going out west and you're stalking muleys, or you're going after elk. And then, in your case, you guys come back home to Michigan. I come back home to Minnesota, and we're in a tree stand the rest of the year. We wanted to deliver top quality apparel to a wider range of people that have ever been exposed to top quality apparel before. And we think we've done it with Pnuma. And the interesting thing about this is that there really aren't many companies that could pull off what we did. And I say that with, I'm going to maybe make up a term here, respectful arrogance. Okay? If that makes sense to you, I hope it does, because I can't come up with anything better right now.
Right.
But there are very few companies around the globe who have the ability to design this level of quality and performance into a complete line, because very few people have relationships with the craftsmen who can create these quality garments. We talked to factories in the United States before we had to make the decision to go overseas for our manufacturing, and we're proud of the companies that we work with overseas. There is simply, or the technology does not exist on our shores to produce the kind of apparel that Pnuma or North Face or Marmot or Mountain Hardwear requires from their manufacturers. And it's disappointing, but if that situation was to ever change, we will be the first in line knocking on that manufacturer's door saying, we want to bring this stuff back to the U.S. But in order for us to deliver the quality that we want, and that we have delivered, we had to go to the finest craftsmen in the world to do this. And the fun thing that we found is that this one group that we work with who does make gear for North Face and Marmot and Mountain Hardwear and Patagonia, they love to be challenged. They love to make the finest garments and the most technical garments in the world. And they found that manufacturing our stuff has been a challenge. And they love that, and that tells us we're on the right track. To give you an example of what we delivered to a manufacturer for them to build our any garment in our line. And let's go back to the Selkirk jacket that I was talking about. But this would apply to any product that you'll see at PnumaOutdoors.com. We create what we call a Spec Pack, and I'm sure other manufacturers have their own names for it. But basically what this is that it's the design handbook or the how-to guide that we turn over to the factory, where we specify the size and needle that we want them to sew our garments with. We determine the kinds of threads that they use, the componentry, the snaps that we use. When it comes back to the sewing, how many stitches do we want per inch? And all of these specifications are contained in a document, and some of these can look like an old-fashioned phone book. I mean, they're that thick. They can be several hundred pages. And so we take the design, the integration of our technology, and making sure that our partner manufacturers have a complete understanding of what has to be made, and our expectation is that they're going to exceed our expectations in the product that they deliver to us. So we challenge the best to deliver, and we believe they've done that. And again, that adds to our excitement about the brand.
That's awesome.
And we think that consumers are, when they're finally out in the field with this stuff, they'll understand why they bought Pnuma, and that they'll stay with us. So that's what makes the whole thing worthwhile.
Absolutely. And I bet these companies that you're dealing with that also do these other companies, their inspection process that they have to make sure that they're up to your standards is top notch.
Oh, absolutely. It's an entire phase of their production is the inspection of the gear as it comes out. And there are specialists with those manufacturers who do nothing but, as a garment comes their way, their assumption when they pick that up is there is something wrong with this garment, and it's my job to find it. And if they don't find it, great. It moves on, and it gets packed, and it gets shipped. But they really do approach it with the attitude, something's going to be wrong here, and it's my job to find it. Instead of, everything's going to be right, and it's kind of a lazy attitude where, this looks right, pass it along. No, these people search for defects. And when they find them, they send it back to the line, and that product is either destroyed or the problem is fixed. And that's how we keep the quality of Pnuma apparel consistent. And it's really an amazing thing to have these partnerships that very few companies around the world have.
I want to shift gears just a little bit here. Something as we've been plowing through your webpage.
Yep.
I'm seeing over and over and over again, and I've got to ask you about it. And it's a little box in the bottom corner, and it says Genesis 27:3. Now take your quiver and bow and go out into the open country and hunt wild game for me. And you also said that the name Pnuma, move in the spirit. That's not just by coincidence. That there's a running theme here, and I want to ask you about that because there's not many out. I won't say there's not many companies out there that will tie Bible verses to their product. Tell me a little bit about that.
There aren't, and it's something that is part of the culture at Pnuma, and it starts with Scott Schultz, who really runs the company. I really run it, but I let him think that he runs it. And if he listens to this podcast, I'm going to come looking to you guys for a job, okay?
Right on. We'll help you out.
Expect a knock on the door in the middle of the night some night. But Scott's faith is what moves him every day, and his entire family. And he has brought that to every business venture that he has been associated with. I mentioned our sister company, Robinson Outdoors, that Scott makes sure that the companies, that his personal Christian values are reflected in the way that he conducts himself, both personally and professionally. There are many of us who believe as Scott does, and we try to do the same thing in both our professional and personal lives. But you're right, for a company to go out and put that forward in our messaging and on the website, when you mentioned that, it appears all over the website, it is on every page of the website. And so, it would be a very easy thing to do because there really are many, many Christians who are hunters. And you can't fool somebody about your beliefs, because I think that group can smell a phony a mile away.
Right.
And so it would be very easy for us to have sat back and said, you know what? There's a big Christian community of hunters. Let's slap a Bible verse on this website and let everybody think that this is what we're into.
Right.
That's just playing lip service to your customers.
Right.
When in effect, in the long run, somebody's going to catch you for doing that, and it's not going to be a good thing. So not only do we believe it every day and have it as a guiding principle of the brand, where we hunt is God's creation. And I'm always in awe when I'm out, whether it's in a trout river or I'm in a tree stand or I'm in a mountain out west, and you look around and say, some power greater than me created all of this stuff that I'm looking at, and that is literally taken my breath away at times at the beauty and the challenges. And God put all of those out there for us to experience. So one of the things that we're doing to not only, talk the talk, but walk it, is that we're real proud to, and I'll announce it here, but we're going to do it formally on the website next week, is that a very dear friend of Pnuma's, Ray Hull, has a wonderful ministry called Kicking Bear Ministries. And what they do is that they introduce children to the outdoors who don't have a parent around to do that for them. And Ray's a tremendous man. He is one of the most dedicated people that I've ever met in my life. He and Scott Schultz have known each other for about 7 or 8 years, and they immediately struck up a very, very strong friendship. And so we're not just, putting that Genesis verse out there. We are going to be donating proceeds from every sale of Pnuma Apparel to support Kicking Bear Ministries as we move forward. And we're going to give our customers the opportunity to make a donation to Kicking Bear if they would like. Now, they're already doing it simply by purchasing our gear, and we appreciate that because it's their money, but our profit, I guess, that we decided, you know what, no, this has got to go to a more important place than just the bottom line. This has to go to helping people. And so at checkout, people will have the opportunity to donate, whether that's $1, $2, $20, $200 to Kicking Bear Ministries. And we're not going to pre-check a box with a $5 donation if the consumer happens to miss it and they look at their receipt and they go, wait a minute, what did I just do here? I didn't want to donate that $5.
Right.
We're not going to do that to people. They will have a choice of donating or not. If they do, thank you for supporting Kicking Bear Ministries and being a Pnuma customer. And if you don't, hey, we're just glad to have you as part of Pnuma, and we're going to take percentage of what we earned off that sale, and we're going to make sure that that goes right to Ray and right to Kicking Bear Ministries and to help children by introducing them to the outdoors. We're real excited about this. But it becomes a proof point that this really is important to our lives and to our business.
We were fortunate enough I was, to meet Mr. Howell back, I want to say it was in 2007.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Paul Penix, who gave me my start in the industry. He was at an event and introduced me to him. Their camp is literally 20 minutes down the road from us. 20 minutes. So, I mean, they're right in our back door.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're literally.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they're
tremendous.
I started looking, I'm like, I think they're just in the next county down, and sure enough, I knew they were in Michigan, in the southern Michigan, but I'm like, yep, they're right down here, right in our back door.
What a company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Ray's just a tremendous guy, and I just had the opportunity to meet him, as I mentioned, about 3 weeks ago when we had him in for a meeting, and he is so strong in his beliefs, and he's got an infectious personality, and you want to hang on every word that the man says, but it's not just what Ray says, and there's nobody better at saying stuff than Ray is, particularly when it comes to his beliefs. And but what he does is the most important thing. Once again, it's words versus actions, right?
Yep. Giving back,
and so it's really, Ray's words are tremendous, and I wish there are times where I had the gift to say the things that come out of Ray's mouth. But what I really, really admire is what he does for these kids.
Absolutely.
And we just could not be prouder to be associated with Kicking Bear, and we know that it's going to be a very long and meaningful relationship to both us and our money that we pass along to Ray and the Kicking Bear. We know that that's going to do an awful lot of good for an awful lot of kids, and it's going to change lives.
Absolutely.
And what can be better than doing that?
Exactly. And that okay, now it's speaking multitudes of volumes of Pnuma.
Yeah, absolutely. Giving back and putting your money where your mouth is. Integrity, character, the whole 9 yards, it all rolls together. But, speaking of integrity and character, hold that thought. We're going to step outside and take a break, because I got one more question for you before we wrap up the show. And we'll take care of that right after this.
The 2015 Dream Season Decree is a deadly combination of speed and precision. It's built for the moments when time stands still. When the only thing that will break the silence is an arrow slicing a clean path to the kill zone. The bow of your dreams is a nightmare for big game. This is PSE's Decree. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We know the future of hunting depends on our nation's youth. But did you know that in many states, it's illegal for you to take your son or daughter hunting until the age of 12 or even older? As a result, we have fewer young hunters, and the Families Afield program is designed to eliminate those barriers. Hunting is safe, and the safest hunters afield are young people with adult mentors. Visit our website at familiesafield.org to find out how you can bring more families afield.
Hey, welcome back. Last segment of the show, we're talking with David Strandberg here from Pnuma Outdoors, new product line. We've talked a lot about the product. We've talked about the company philosophy, the technology behind it, but we even talked about character and integrity and what they stand for and morality. And I don't want to get too far off in the weeds on this, but we would be remiss if we did not mention this on the show today. This week about what happened this past weekend with Sarah Bomar and Josh Bomar in Under Armour.
Yep.
You guys can all Go look on social media and form your own opinions, and we will probably expand upon this on the next week's show. But David, you guys put something out on your Facebook page that really struck me. And I'm going to read the quote here. It says, Pnuma was born to deliver hunters to moments of truth and back again. To some of our moments of truth will never be understood. Pnuma will not turn away from those who harvest game legally and ethically, and will honor those who live to hunt and hunt to truly live.
Yes.
I'm assuming that was brought out of what's happened this week?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a very unfortunate situation. I don't know the Bowmans, but I feel badly for what they went through. From everything that I've been reading, and I'm sure you guys have been reading, is that bear was taken legally, it was taken ethically, and they lost a dream because of their actions, and that dream was to be associated with a brand of hunting apparel. And what's been most interesting to me is that there have been a lot of anti-hunters, who really drove this thing once that video was released.
Right.
And there was a lot of pressure put on the company that sponsors Sarah. Mm-hmm. And so they made the decision to drop. I'm not going to go out and say they caved or do any of that.
Right.
I can't control what that company does. I can only control what we do. Mm-hmm. But because we're a company that is born in the wild fields and not on basketball courts and football stadiums and baseball diamonds and soccer fields, we're part of the hunting community, even though we are just 3 weeks old. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're in this thing for life, and when we're committed to being part of this hunting community, that means we will, without question, stand beside. I heard somebody say, well, you're going to stand behind your hunters. No, we're going to stand next to them. We're not going to be behind them. We're going to be next to them and keep moving forward. That as long as they are doing what's right in terms of ethics and by following the law, we will never turn our back on the lifestyle that they've chosen and the lifestyle that all of us at Pnuma live. Mm-hmm. So it was a pretty easy thing. When you boil it down as a company, we're really just standing up for what we live, eat, and breathe every day. And there is no wavering from that position.
Absolutely. I've done a lot of thinking and a lot of soul searching on this week. You said a couple things that really struck me. This company's number one was not born in the outdoors. We talked a little bit before the show, and your career path brought you from, what we're going to say, from a non-outdoor style companies to the outdoor company that you currently work for. I'm trying to think of how to form this question. I've got it in my head, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it right now. Companies that are on the outside and want to play in our outdoor playground, so to say, do you think they not really fully understand what we do? And do you think that might be a detriment to that product line or whatever it is that they're trying to do? Am I forming the question right? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think I know where you're going with that, Mike. And if I get off track, try to bring me back to it. When you're if you're a company that makes a lot of different apparel, and you decide to dip your big toe into the hunting apparel world, and the company that we're talking about, the revenue that they generate from that hunting division is so minuscule compared to what they do in athletic wear.
Sure.
that division could probably go away and nobody would notice a difference if you were on the inside at that company. That's how big they are. I saw a piece on the news the other day when there was this topic was bubbling up, and they are the second largest sports apparel producer behind Nike. That's big.
Huge.
Okay?
Huge.
And so one of the things that, and again, I'm not on the inside. Nobody asked me to consult them on this matter.
Sure.
But they also have that athletic wear business, which is the heart and soul of what they do. They have to protect that.
Sure.
With their retailers and with their customers. And they made the choice they did. I'm not here to question it. I'm not here to criticize. They did what they did to protect their relationship with retailers and with with a very broad group of consumers who do not hunt.
Right.
And so when we talked we talked last segment how some people can smell a phony a mile away. I think that's what's happened, because if we go back to Cecil the lion, okay, that transcended hunting. Okay, that became a global issue, and it didn't involve a corporation. It involved an individual.
Right.
And so while the anti-hunters are making their feelings known about this, what has absolutely amazed me is the customer reaction to this brand.
Right.
And you guys can go on Facebook, you can go on Twitter, you can go to the New York Times where this is being covered, and you'll find out how consumers are reacting to this. And they're reacting with such passion in their responses, and, calling for boycotts, and they're, burning their clothes and their apparel, and they're submitting those as photos. It's like, holy smokes. So this has gone beyond just anti-hunters. This is about a group of folks who feel betrayed.
Right.
And that's the difference, I think, between the situation with Josh and Sarah taking this bear and the Cecil situation of what is it now, a couple years ago.
Right.
So it's interesting. Tell me, how are you guys shaking out on this topic?
I can talk for about 5 hours on this.
Turn the tables on you guys.
That's great.
No, actually,
that's a great question.
Mike and I, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, and we sent out an email to our team, and basically, you won't see that product in any of our pictures or video or anything we put out from us.
Yeah, well, I have to be honest and say that I've got 5 pieces of clothing from that brand, and they were purchased. 4 of them were purchased a long time ago. Probably their usefulness is gone, but I still have them in my drawer. And then actually, if I don't get rid of them in the trash or donate them to some place for some underprivileged kids or something, they'll stay in the drawer. They're not coming out. And I got another shirt that was given to me through as compensation for some work that I did that I'll be getting rid of as well. So I'm not invested heavily, but I've seen a lot of people online who have invested literally thousands of dollars. And for somebody to light their gear on fire in front of a camera because they're so outraged, my hat's off to them. I commend them for standing up for something. I truthfully believe right now, at this point in time, after the Cecil thing, after what we've seen with, I believe it was Kendall Jones, the young girl out of Texas who was berated, Michelle Bachman, who's been berated, this young girl who that shot the 12-year-old who shot the giraffe over in Africa. Here recently, they were going after her. I think the hunting community, and I'm talking for myself, but I think the hunting community, and I'm talking about your average hard-working, red-blooded Americans that spend their hard-earned extra cash on outdoor gear, have had enough. I think they really have had enough of people reaching into their pocket and taking their money, but not standing behind them. I think there's a line in the sand.
I think it's a great assessment, Mike, and that's just what is what is playing out now. Because, I'm in this business, you guys are in this business. I spent a big chunk of Friday, Saturday looking at the other brand's website or their Facebook page, and I've been following all of the hashtags. And I said to a friend of mine yesterday on the phone, I said, you know what, this story has spiderwebbed in so many different directions that I'm not sure the NSA has the capability of keeping track of all the directions where this stuff is going.
I would agree with that.
Like I said, between the hashtags and the shares, and all of a sudden you might have 2 comments under a post about it, and then you click, read more comments, and 500 of these things pop up. And it's whereas it was with Cecil, it's like, let's go get that dentist. He shouldn't be allowed to live here. Let's have charges filed against him. Blah blah. You guys know how that played out. The world knows how it played out. But this now has gone beyond just the anti-hunters. It is now as I said before, this is about people, customers who were dedicated to this company, who has betrayed them, and they're not taking it well. And we would love to have even a small portion. If we could get a small portion of the people who are upset with this company right now and get them over to Pnuma, holy smoke, that'd make our year. So we invite, and we will be doing some things that we'll be extending an invitation to these folks to come over and try Pnuma. We'd love to have them. There are a lot of dedicated hunters. They're hunting legally. They're hunting ethically. They appreciate apparel and the importance of the role that it plays in the success of their hunt. Are we going to slam this company? No, it's not our style. But, there are a lot of hunters out there right now, and trust me, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at all these companies, when they have their Monday morning management meeting, it's going to be, how do we get a share of those disenfranchised hunters that are out there?
Absolutely.
And, what are we going to do to go get that business and bring them over to our side?
And show them the way that like Pnuma, you'll stand not behind them, but beside them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And our very, very simple message did a lot of good things for us. It got us some new friends. It got us some new followers. And we can, going back to the beginning of the show, and I tell you, I can look at a dashboard on that e-commerce site, and I know right where people are coming from. And within minutes of putting that post up, we saw referral visits, meaning I can look at the data and it says somebody came from a different site, to find you. I click on that and I can find a list of sites, and there they were, Facebook. So it moved a few people, and I've always been a firm believer that if you move the people, you'll move the needle of your business.
There you go.
And so we did what we thought was the right thing to do, and people responded, and we're grateful for that. And but that all we did was the simplest thing possible, and that was tell the truth.
There you go.
Let them know what we believe.
It goes back to the values.
That's it. You put you put your money where your mouth is, and you put it out there for everybody to see. And when I look at things like that, it's quality, character, and integrity. And do they walk the walk? Do they stand up for what they say? And that's it, when you boil things down, that's all a man has, is his character and his integrity at the end of the day, and what he stands for. So. No, Dave. It's been a great time talking with you. I'm really intrigued about the product line and everything, and I really recommend anybody who might have some gear that they no longer want to wear from a particular company that we're talking about, give Pnuma a look. That's all we're asking, is go over and just give them a look. I did, and you know what? I'm impressed.
You know
Everybody
what?
knows how I stand on things with scent control.
If you've got any questions, feel free to get on the Facebook page and ask.
Yeah,
because they respond really quickly.
Well, David, how can somebody get a hold of the company there or ask questions? Lead the people here as to what you got.
Mike and Dan, the one thing that I did from our very first email that we sent out to people who subscribed to our email list is that they got a welcome letter, and the gentleman who designed it for me, who's in my office, Mitch, just an incredibly talented kid, and he did a great job in putting that thing together, but he put my full name and he put my address, my email address on there. And I looked at that and I thought, do I really want to have people writing me directly? Mm-hmm. And it was the best thing ever. And I'm so grateful that Mitch put that email address on there, because people can write me at David at Pnuma, and again, that's Pnuma. So David, and spell out the word at. So it's David at Pnuma at PnumaOutdoors.com. It's a little long. I get that, and I apologize, but when they send an email to that address, that is coming right to me. Nobody else is going to see that. And since pre-launch, I could not tell you guys the hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of emails that I answer, and I answer them personally, and I try to get back to people as quickly as possible. I don't care if it's a simple question, if it's somebody's looking for a gear recommendation, whatever it happens to be, get in touch with me there. So that's the same address that's on my business card. It's not some address that I just check once a week. This is stuff that I see each and every day, and I invite people, once again, it's David at PnumaOutdoors.com, and I'd love to hear from your listeners. That'd be great.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday evening, sitting down and talking with us. And, we can put up a link on our webpage as well, directing people over to your website. Absolutely. So they can check it out. And I want to give a special shout out.
That, guys.
Special shout out to Charles Byram over there in Iowa, who turned us on to your product. And I can't say enough.
That was so great. Yeah. I didn't know Charles, and all of a sudden one day a message comes into Facebook, and he asked me a couple of questions about the product and about our stance, about what was going on with the situation with the Bomars, and we had a brief discussion about that. The next thing I know I'm introduced to you guys, and I happened to listen to Charles' interview on a podcast last night, and so I want to thank Charles for getting us in touch too. It really came out of nowhere, but it's turned out to be a absolutely fabulous opportunity, and once again to both you guys, thanks for having me on and for having Pnuma on and helping celebrate our 3-week anniversary.
There you go.
Well,
the pleasure is
definitely ours,
no doubt about it.
And we'll have to talk some more here real soon, and get a little more on the personal side and see what makes you tick a little bit, and then hear about some good stories in the outdoors.
I would absolutely love that. You guys just let me know when, and I will be at the other end of the phone for you.
All right, folks, that'll do it for us this week. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Cabela's,
Antler Action,
Spot Shooter Archery,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.